let's continue with defense of relatives. Before we determine what is defense dito, let's first determine who are the relatives. So, isa-isahin muna natin, no, mabilisan. Saka natin i-explain yan isa-isa. Okay? So, who are the relatives? Spouse, ascendants, descendants, brothers or sisters, whether legitimate, adopted, or natural. Nakalagay sa Article 11 yan. Relatives by affinity within the same degrees. And lastly, relatives by consanguinity within the fourth civil degree. Okay, so isa-isahin po natin. Ang una kong gusto i-tackle sa inyo, kasi ito yung mas nalilito, no? Yung mga students, no? Yung brother sisters, yung mga siblings. Okay? Isa-isahin natin yan. Okay. So ito ang tip ko sa inyo. Di ba nakalagay dyan sa Article 11, mayroon nakasulat na legitimated, adopted, saka natural. Yan yung adjectives. Adjectives, di ba? Ang recommendation ko sa inyo, kalimutan nyo muna yung nakasulat na legitimate. Kalimutan muna natin. Forget about legitimate and illegitimate for now. Wag muna. Okay? Ito muna ang gawin nating pamantayan. Tatlo. Daan nyo to ha. Siblings by blood. Siblings na adopted. O, adopted sibling. At saka siblings by affinity. Tatlo ha. Kasi kasali po pala affinity rito kasi nakalagay dyan relatives by affinity within the same degrees. So kasali yung brother-in-law. Diba? So tatlo lang ulit ha. Sibling by blood, adopted sibling, at saka affinity. Sibling by affinity. Okay? Simulan natin. No? Ano po ang ibig sabihin ng full sibling? Pag po sinabing full sibling, pareho ang nanay at tatay. Same FNM nakalagay dyan. Regardless if yung nanay at tatay nila kasal. Regardless. Full sibling kayo. Aba, sabihin natin magulang mo. Magulang nyo, di naniniwala sa kasal. O, illegitimate kayo. Illegitimate brothers and sisters. However, full sibling. Diba? Full sibling kayo, anong tawag sa inyo? Siblings by blood. Okay? Next, half sibling. What does that mean? Pag sinabing half sibling, same yung father or yung mother, hindi and. Or, isa lang ang pareho magulang. Again, no? Wala tayong pakialam kung kasal o hindi, whatever. Siblings by blood. Okay? So, relative din yan. Okay? Saan po siya papasok na salita dyan? No? Okay, sa brothers and sisters. Okay? Next tayo. Sibling-in-law. What does sibling-in-law mean? Okay? So, a sibling-in-law is the sibling of the accused spouse. In Tagalog, kapatid ng asawa ng akusado. Okay? Bayaw. Yan yung tinatawag, di ba, sa Tagalog. Yung bayaw mo. Okay? Relative. Bakit po sa relative ulit? Kasi relatives by affinity within the same degree. What is that degree? Brothers and sisters. Lastly, last two. No? Adopted sibling. Relative. Nakasulat na nga dyan, adopted eh. Di ba? O last, ito pala yung pinaka-important. Kaya ako hinimay ng ganito. Yung step sibling. What is a step o who is a step sibling? A step sibling is ito. The father of the accused got married to the mother of the sibling. Ulitin natin. Paano nagkakaroon ng step sibling? The father of the accused got married to the mother of the sibling. Okay, so in Tagalog, yung magulang ni Pedro, pinakasalan yung magulang ni Maria. Okay? So basically, yung tatay ni Pedro, nagawa na si Pedro bago pa man siya ikasal dun sa nanay ni Maria. Ginawa sila independently. Okay? Tapos nagkasal yung kanilang mga magulang. Ano tawag sa kanila? Step brother, step sister. Tanong, relatives ba yun? Relatives ba sila? The answer is no. They are not relatives. Kasi tandaan nyo guys, yung relatives by affinity sa brothers and sisters, dapat yung mismong akusado yung kinasal. In this case, hindi yung akusado yung kinasal. Ang kinasal yung magulang ng akusado. It just so happens na yung magulang ng akusado, kinasal sa isang babae, in this case babae, at yung babae na yun, meron ding anak na iba. Sa una. So, step brother ang tawag mo dun sa babae na yun. O doon sa kusina may naging anak nung inasawa ng tatay ni Pedro. Di ba? Tandaan nyo ha, pag sibling-in-law, yung akusado mismo ang kinasal. So yung mga kapatid nung asawa niya, brother-in-law niya. See the difference? O, o pag kinasal, yung tatay ni Pedro sa babae, sa babae niya may anak, step-sibling ang tawag doon, step-sister. Okay? Step-sister, not a relative. Okay? Strangers po sila. Okay? Kung i-relate po natin to sa persons in family relations no, sa mga first year, matatakal to later on no, sa validity of marriages no, sa article ano ba to? Article 38 of the Family Code. Nakalagay dyan, marriages void for being contrary to public policy. Hindi po nakasulat dyan yung step siblings. Ibig sabihin, ang step siblings pwedeng ikasal. Bakit po sila pwedeng ikasal? Kasi nga, strangers. Okay? Tandaan niyo yan. Ulitin ko ulit. No? Pag-ibahin nyo, kaya ako hinimay ng ganito. Kasi wala tayong problema sa half-brother saka sa full brother. Eh. Wala tayong problema ron. Dugo yan eh. No? Automatic sibling yan kahit anong gawin natin dyan. Whether legitimate, illegitimate, kapatid yan. Okay? So, relative. Ang problema natin yung sibling-in-law sa step-sibling. Actually, ganito gawin natin. Ihiwalay na natin yung adopted sibling na to. Kasi madali din yung adopted sibling. In-adapt, di ba? O, ayan, sibling-in-law sa step-sibling. Ano pinagkaiba ulit? Ang sibling-in-law, yung akusado mismo ang kinasal. O yung asawa niya, may mga kapatid, sibling-in-law niya yun. Okay? Yung step-sibling, hindi yung akusado ang kinasal. Ang kinasal yung magulang ng akusado. Yung pinakasalan niya, may mga anak na iba. Yung mga anak na yun, step-sibling ang tawag. Yung step-sibling na yun, stranger. Hindi akusado. Kasi nga pwede niyang pakasalan yun eh. I-correlate natin ha. Pwede niyang pakasalan. Pwede silang mag-double wedding doon sabay. Di ba? Sukob, pwede. Pwede yun, no? Kasi nga strangers. Okay, o so ngayon, no? Siyempre, para sasagot na kayo sa exam, di ba? After determining, no, that they are siblings in blood. Sabihin natin, na-determine na po natin. Siblings in blood sila, no? That's the time when you determine kung legitimate o illegitimate. Ganun ang pasok dyan, guys. Tingnan nyo muna sa facts, o tingnan nyo muna sa question, kung magkadugo. Okay, hindi natin yung full sibling, half sibling. Pagkatapos kung ma-determine yun at saka nyo banata na, at saka ay pumunta ng legitimate at saka illegitimate side. Okay? Step by step ang process para di kayo malito. Kasi guys, no, brief background lang. Nung araw kasi may ganito pang mga words, legitimate, adopted, natural. Ngayon wala na pong ganyan. Wala nang natural sibling ngayon. Wala nang natural child. Dalawa na lang ang types ngayon, di ba? Legitimate at saka illegitimate. No? Hindi na bago yung revised penal code. So, let's make it simple for ourselves. No? Gawin natin muna nung una. Tingnan mo muna kung kadugo o hindi. Pag nalaman mo na kung sino kadugo at sino hindi, o pag kadugo siya, after malaman yun, saka mo determine kung legitimate o illegitimate. Okay? Sige. Anyway, criminal law naman to basta masabi mo na sibling. Walang problema. Actually, kung matatanong kayo dito o kung lilituhin kayo dito, sa sibling-in-law talaga, saka sa step-sibling. Okay? Kasi alam mo naman ng ibang mga student, sige, get ko na yan, get ko na yan. Tapos pag dumating na yung tanong, doon biglang nagugulat. No? Kasi kailangan hinihimay mo talaga yung provisions. Kasi baka na-overestimate ni kaalaman, no? Kasi pag tinanong ka na, baka doon ka madali. Okay? So let's explain it no? Lagi. Let's break down yung mga provisions lagi, especially sa criminal law 1. Okay, so sabi ko nga no, note no, delete the word natural actually. We now use illegitimate siblings under the family code. Di na natural ngayon ang wording. O ayan, relatives by affinity naman tayo. So meron na kayong brief discussion dito sa taas ng affinity kasi nabanggit ko na po yung sibling-in-law. So itakal pa natin further ang relatives by affinity. Okay. So who are the relatives by affinity of the accused? No? In Tagalog, by affinity, ibig sabihin, by kasal. Dahil sa kasal, naging kamag-anak dahil sa kasal. Ginawa pa kasing affinity, manong relatives by marriage na lang para di tayo nagkakahirap-hirap dito, di ba? Yung consanguinity, relatives by blood. Ganun lang kasimple. Okay? So, affinity. Who are relatives by affinity? Unang-una, asawa mo. Di ba? Next, father-in-law, mother-in-law, grandparent-in-law, grandson-in-law. Why? Kasi po, relatives by affinity within the same degrees. What are the degrees that we are talking about? Let's look up. Spouse, ascendants, descendants. O di pag ascendant mo, father-in-law at saka grandfather-in-law. Great-grandfather-in-law. So on. Diba? Pag descendant, apo-in-law, anak-in-law, son-in-law at saka apo. Okay tayo. Sige. Now, ito ang tanong ko sa inyo. Ito pa, isang pwede kayong lituhin. No? Ang cousin-in-law ba relative? Pinsan nung asawa mo, pinsang buo niya, magka-close sila. Inasawa mo. No? Kamag-anak mo na rin ba yung pinsan niya? So, ako is accused. No? Sabihin natin accused. No? The accused married someone. This someone has a first cousin. Yung bang accused, relative ba niya yung pinsan ng asawa niya? The answer is no. Kasi sabi ko sa inyo, tumingin kayo sa taas. Hiniwalay po yan. Ayan, para sa mga first years ulit. Ganyan ang pag-breakdown ng law. No? Hindi niyo po binabase na parang casual reading na dyaryo or article online. No? Talagang himay na himay. Okay? Kasi parang lalo na to pag mga old law. No? Pag old law, normally each word dyan important talaga. Diba? Yung pagkaka-breakdown. No? Okay, so pataas ang tingin ha, o in your caudal, ganun din, pataas ang tingin, no? So, ibig sabihin, yung cousin, in-law, stranger. Okay? What about tito? Sabihin natin, o yung asawa mo, close sa tito niya, o sa tita niya. Yung tita ba na yun, kamag-anak mo? Accused ka, sabihin natin. Sorry accused, sabihin natin. Hindi. Okay? Stranger din. Okay? Kasi hindi siya ascendant-descendant eh. Collateral relative ang tawag dyan. Okay. Anyway, so ito sagot, no? Ayan. Cousin-in-law and uncle-in-law are strangers to the accused because the provision clearly states that relatives by affinity must be the same degree as spouse, ascendant, descendant, and sibling. Hindi po nakalagay ang fourth civil degree. After pa yun, tingnan nyo sa caudal nyo. Okay? Next, step-parent and stepchild are strangers to each other. Okay? Step-parent and stepchild. So, example natin kanina, di ba? Step-sibling. O, step-sibling, di ba? Yung magulang ni accused, may inasawang iba. O yung ibang inasawa niya, may anak. O yung mga anak na yun, step-sibling ni accused. Settle na tayo kung strangers po yun. Pwede nga niyang pakasalan eh. Next question. Eh, yung pinakasalan ng tatay niya, yung stepmother niya, sabihin natin. Relative ba yun? Or stranger? Stranger din po ulit. Kasi magkaiba po ang father-in-law at saka stepfather. Ialay ko rin dito. Okay? Do not be confused with parent-in-law and stepfather, step-parent. So, i.e., sabihin natin, father-in-law versus stepfather. Okay? The father-in-law, no, is a relative, no, while the stepfather is a stranger. Okay? Sana malinaw, no? So, same thing din. Stepchild, stepson, stranger din yun. Di ba? Sabihin natin, ang akusado, si father, si stepfather. Akusado siya. O, sabi niya, dinepensahan niya yung kanyang stepson. Kasi nagkabasag ulo, ganyan. Question, defense of a relative ba ang i-invoke nyo? No. Kasi nga, stranger po ang kanilang relasyon. Okay? Tama naman talaga. Tama rin naman talagang strangers. Kasi wala naman silang wala naman talaga where's the ugnayan, di ba? Hindi naman nagpakasal yung son. Hindi naman siya nagpakasal, di ba? So, where's the ugnayan? So, magkaiba, tandaan natin, magkaiba ang father-in-law at saka stepfather. Always check the facts kung paanong naging quote-unquote related. O paano sila nagkaroon ng relasyon. Ayan. Yung relasyon ba dahil si accused nagpakasal? o dahil yung magulang ni accused nagpakasal. Diba? Galay ko na rin dito, no? So note, no? Always check. Kung na kailangan ilagay ito pala. Yan. Yan. Always check, no? If the accused, no, was the one, no, who got married, or it was the parent of the accused. Yan. Di ba ganda, no? Parent of the accused who got married. No? The former is, the former, no, will have relatives. No? The former, huwag natin ilagay yun. Ganyan na lang. Ayan. Basta tandaan niyo yung una, yung pag ang accused ang nagpakasal, yung mga naging bago niyang mga magulang, relative yun. Pero kapag ang nagpakasal, yung magulang ni accused, yung bago niyang magulang, quote unquote, stranger yun. Okay? Sige, tama naman talaga stranger. Next tayo guys, no? So na-breakdown na natin lahat. Mula sa ano, no? Si spouse, no? Hanggang sa relatives by affinity within the same degrees. Tapos na tayo dyan. Now let's go to the next one. Relatives by consanguinity within the fourth civil degree. Tandaan nyo ha, pag nabanggit na po yung fourth civil degree, example po nito, collateral relatives nga. Mga collateral relatives, yan po, no? Consanguinity na lang. By blood lang. Okay, by blood lang yan. Sige. So, yan. Sino-sino ba ang mga notable relatives by consanguinity within the fourth civil degree? Sino ba yan? Mga malalapit na kamag-anak ng akusado. But not by marriage. Okay? Never by marriage. Okay? Hindi pwede maging by affinity. Oh, so yung uncle niya, no? Yung kanyang may kulang pa dito. Uncle o yung aunt, no? So alam na natin kung sino lalaki at babae diyan. Cousin. First cousin, okay? May kulang pa ako dito, no? Niece at saka nephew. Okay? Tandaan natin, no? So tatlo yan, ha? Uncle, aunt, no? First cousin, niece at saka nephew. Again, ulitin natin, uncle-in-law and cousin-in-law are strangers to the accused. Wait lang. Dagdagan pa natin, uncle-in-law, cousin-in-law, and nephew-in-law. Ayan. All are strangers to the accused. Okay? They only become relatives of the accused, no? Uncles natin. Uncles, cousins, no? Dapat ka, first cousin, dapat. First cousins. Let's make it clear. And nephews. Yeah. Only become relatives of the accused if by consanguinity or by blood. Yan. Okay tayo. So, na-determine na natin ha, kung sino yung mga relatives. Tandaan nyo. So, kayo pwedeng tanongin dito, hindi kita tanongin sa spouse, ascendant, descendant. Wala dyan ang lalabas. Hindi dyan lalabas kung pahihirapan ko kayo. Kung pahihirapan ko kayo, dito kayo tatanungin sa brother, sister, relatives by affinity, saka relatives by consanguinity. Okay? Sige. Daan natin. No? So, balik-balikan na lang natin kung medyo di pag-get. Balikan na lang din natin yung sinabi ko. Okay, so now that we're done with the relative side, tingnan naman natin yung defense side. Ano yung mga requisites for defense of a relative? Diyan tayo susunod na. Sige. Tuloy tayo sa ano, no? Sa requisites na, no? Doon na tayo sa pinaka-defense, no? So, ano sabi sa Article 11, Paragraph 2? Ang nakasulat dyan, the first two requisites are the same as self-defense. So, ano yun? Unlawful aggression and reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent the aggression. Prevent it. Okay. So, what's the third requisite? Diba? It's different. Ang nakalagay po sa Article 11, Paragraph 1 on self-defense, nakalagay dyan, lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. Okay. Lack of sufficient provocation on the part of the person defending himself. Okay. So, ano ang third requisite for relatives naman? Defense of relatives. Nakasulat dyan, in case provocation was given by the person attacked, that the one making the defense had no part therein. In case provocation was given by the person attacked, that the one making the defense had no part therein. In Tagalog, kung nang-provoke man yung inatake na relative, yan, yung nag-defense o yung gumawa ng depensa o yung akusado, wala po siyang parte dun sa pagpo-provoke na yun. Inosente siya, in short. Walang provocation siya ginawa. Dumepensa lang siya sa kanyang kamag-anak. Okay. So, tingnan natin ngayon, breakdown natin. Meron tayong, madami pala akong ginawang, no? Madami akong ginawang examples. Kasi nga, mahilig ako sa examples. No? As you all know na, no? At this point. Kasi doon yung makukuha talaga yung mastery. No? Hindi sa pag-share ko lang ng mga principles sa inyo. I know you've already read that. Di ba? You've already seen yung mga principles sa marami yung binabasa mga materials. The difference, so, pagkakaiba natin dito, bigay ko sa inyo example. Para hindi na ganun kahirap ang buhay. Di ba? Okay, so this means there is still defense of relative. Di ba? Sabi ko nga, even if the relative provoked the unlawful aggressor, as long as the accused or the person defending the relative had no part therein. Tingnan natin isa-isa. Okay. B stabbed A. In defense of A, his son shot B. B died. Is the son criminally liable? No, because of defense of a relative. Tingnan po natin. Who was the unlawful aggressor in this scenario? Si B. So there was, okay, ano's next na requisite? A reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent the unlawful aggression. So what does reasonable necessity mean? Di ba? Hindi naman po material, consumerism, whatever, no? Con consumerability. So, hindi ibig sabihin na pag kutsilyo ginamit, kutsilyo rin sa'yo. Ang ibig lang po sabihin dyan, rational equivalence. What does that mean, no? Rational. Ibig sabihin ng rational, does it make sense? Diba? Rational ba, di ba? Is it understandable? Diba ganun? Is it understandable for the accused to use this weapon to defend whoever? Oh. In this case, reasonable pong gamitin ang baril. Kasi parehong nakamamatay ang kutsilyo at ang baril. So, pasok din po tayo. Second requisite is also present. There was reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent the unlawful aggression. Lastly, in case provocation was given by the person attacked, who was the person attacked in this case? Si A. Oh. That the one making the defense had no part therein. Who was the person making the defense in this scenario? Yung son ni A. Okay? So, kumpleto na po yung mga scenario natin. No? So, who is the unlawful aggressor? Si B. Who was the person attacked? Si A. Who was the person making the defense? Son of A. So, is the son criminally liable? No. Because of defense of a relative. Okay tayo. Sa basic, ayan na. Sa basic, nilinaw ko na sa inyo. No? Next tayong example. A. Shouted demeaning and racial slurs at B. Oh. So, may sinabing racist something, no? Si AKB. Dahil po sa sinabi niya racist na remarks, no? B stabbed A. Okay, so dinagdagan ko lang ng isa. Ganyan, makita niyo naman din ako gumawa ng example, di ba? Dinadagdagan ko lang ng konti, tapos titingnan natin kung nagbago na ba yung sagot. Kasi dyan yung makikita, kasi pinagko-combine na natin. Illustration and comparison. You mix them together, master yan. We're not just illustrating for the sake of illustrating. Kinukumpara din natin. Diba? Paano pag binago ko ng konti yung facts, nagbabago ba yung sagot? Diba? Okay, so A shouted demeaning and racial slurs at B. B stabbed A. In defense of A, his son shot B. B died. Is the son criminally liable? Hindi pa din po. Because of defense of a relative. Ulitin natin, who was the unlawful aggressor in this scenario? Si B pa din. Siya yung nanaksak eh. Okay. Was there reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent it? Yes pa din. Kasi kutsilyo, baril. Rational equivalence, not material consumerability. Let me check Tingnan natin kung tama yung sinabi ko na words na yun, no? If I can remember. Yes, material consumerism. Okay na. Material commensurability. Okay. Consumerability. Material commensurability. Okay, so rational equivalence lang naman ang kailangan. Does it make sense for the accused to use this to defend himself or to defend the person no relative? Okay, so I think we're clear there, no? Okay. So, in this scenario, no, balik tayo ulit sa example na yun. Ayan. A shouted the meaning in racial slurs at B. So, si B sinaksak si A. So, ang ginawa ng anak ni A, binaril niya si B. Namatay si B. Criminally liable ba? No. Even though A provoked B. Pinaprovoke eh. Di sinabihan ng racist remarks, di ba? A's son had no part in the provocation. Pasok po tayo sa third requisite pa din. Di ba? Nakalagay dyan, in case provocation was given by the person attacked, was provocation given by A in this scenario? The answer is yes. Pinrovoke niya eh. Sinabihan niya ng masasamang salita ng mga racist. Ba't walang part may kanyang anak doon? So, walang liability anak. Okay? Sige. Next, no? What if in the shooting? No? What if in shooting B? O, ayan. So, nung binaril nung anak ni A si B, the son was also pala, ilagay natin ng also, was also motivated by revenge, resentment, or other evil motive. What I mean here is, yung anak, mortal na kaaway din si B. Sabihin natin, di ba, sinabihan ng racist remarks ni A si B, no? Sabihin natin, hindi naman pinrovoke ng anak. Walang provocation na ginawa ng anak. Hindi siya kasali doon sa usapan nila. Pero yung anak, mortal na kaaway si B. So, tinake advantage na po niya sitwasyon dahil sinaksak nga ni B yung kanyang tatay. Total din naman, mortal na kaaway ko si B. Babariling ko na rin. Binaril niya, namatay si B. Is the son criminally liable? Hindi pa din po. Hindi pa din. Okay? Meron pa din complete defense of relative. So, no liability. Why? Revenge, resentment, and other evil motive are immaterial, no? In defense of relative. As long as the son did not provoke B, hindi siya kasali dun sa pagsasabi ng racist remarks, no? There's still a complete defense of relative. Thus, no? Thus, no? The son, no, incurs no criminal liability. Last, A stab B. So, si A ang unang nanaksak. Binabago ko na lang konting facts, okay? So, B stabbed A. Unang nanaksak, si A. Sinaksak ni A si B. Sinaksak din ni B si A. The son of A witnessed the whole incident. Nakita po ng anak ni A na ang unang nanaksak si A. At si B, sinaksak niya si A. No? Balikan sila ng saksakan. Nakita to lahat ng son. Siyempre, tatay niya yun eh. Thus, in defense of A, the son shot B. B died. Is the son criminally liable? Yes. Bakit po siya criminally liable? Tignan ulit natin yung requisites. Ano yung tatlo? Unlawful aggression, reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent the unlawful aggression, and lastly, in case provocation was given by the person attacked, that the one making the defense had no part therein. Saan po ang absent dito? Yung unlawful aggression. Because B was not the unlawful aggressor. Hindi siya. Ang unlawful aggressor, si relative. Okay? Because B was not an unlawful aggressor. It was B. It was A. The relative, no? Or the father in this case. Who was the unlawful aggressor? Thus, the first element of defense of relative is absent. Diba? Making the son of A criminally liable. Nakita po niyang lahat. Yung tatay niya ang naunang manaksak. Diba? Nanaksak yung tatay eh. Nakita niya, sinaksak ni B si A. Diba? In defense of himself. Hindi pwedeng babarilan niya si B. Diba? Nakita niya eh. Under the law, if anything, if anything na lang, theoretically speaking, ang dapat na binarilisan, yung tatay niya dapat ang binaril niya. Kasi tatay yung unlawful aggressor eh. Dapat defense of stranger yun. Si Bia dapat ang niligtas ng son. Hindi yung tatay niya. Pero syempre, hindi naman ganyan na nangyayari in real life. Diba? Syempre, tatay niya yun. Kahit ni tatay niya nauna, depensa niya yung tatay niya. But then again, sabi ko nga sa inyo, then again, kung nakita po niya yung buong insidente, in spite of that, dinipensahan pa rin niya yung tatay niya. Nakita niya yung tatay niya nauna. Patay tayo dyan. There is no defense of relative because the unlawful aggression came from the relative, not si B. Dapat si B ang unlawful aggressor kasi that's the first element of defense of relative. Okay? Sa pang-example, no? Pang-lima. Di ba? Ang dami natin example, no? Last, no? A stabbed B. Okay. Siya ulit. Same ulit. Siya ang nauna. No? So B stabbed A. Siyempre, defense yun eh. Siyempre, pagtanggal ko yung sarili ko, sinaksak ako. Depensa ko yung sarili ko, sabi ni B. The son of A did not witness the whole incident. Hindi po niya nakita yung lahat ng mga pangyayari. He only witnessed B stabbing A. Yun lang po yung nakita niyang portion ng anak. Ang nakita ang portion lang ng anak, sinasaksak na ni B si A. Hindi po niya nakita na ang naunang manaksak yung kanyang tatay. Okay? Thus, in defense of A, the son shot B. Same na same lang guys ang example. Similar lang, no? So B died. Is the son criminally liable? No. Ayan. Kasi po ang tawag dyan, absolutory cause. Absolutory cause of what? Mistake of fact. Okay? No, because there was mistake of fact as to who was the unlawful aggressor. May mistake si A, si San. Hindi niya alam kung sino ang unlawful aggressor based on his perception. Si A ang sinasaksak eh. So si B ang unlawful aggressor. Diba? No, tinignan niya, si B ang nananaksak na. So akala niya si B ang unlawful aggressor. Binaril niya si B. So, as to the son niya, B was the unlawful aggressor. Thus, he is not criminally liable. Justified din yan. Hindi pala justified, pero more on absolved from criminal liability. Huwag natin ilagay. Because there was mistake of fact as to who was the unlawful aggressor. As to the son, B was the unlawful aggressor. Even though in fact, it was A, the father, who was the unlawful aggressor. Who was the true unlawful aggressor. Thus, the son is absolved from criminal liability due to mistake of fact. Okay? Sige. Next tayo, defense of relative. Defense of strangers. So, nalaman na natin yung ano yung nangyari sa relatives, no? Sino ang relatives, paano magkaroon ng defense of relative. Nag-breakdown na natin yung who are the relatives, who are the strangers, ano? At saka yung requisites o elements ng defense of a relative. Now, who is a stranger? So, any person not included in the term relatives is a stranger. Example, step siblings, no? Step parents, di ba? Ano pa? Uncle-in-law, cousin-in-law, nephew-in-law. Lahat po ng mga yan, stranger. Okay. Lalagay pa natin dito, sorry. Kulang pa to. Dagdagan na rin natin, no? Second cousin, di ba? Third cousin, di ba? Mga ganyan. Alam mo naman natin sa Pilipinas, kamag-anakan, no? Kahit na 10th cousin na, pinsan pa din, no? Okay. Anyway, pero yun, strangers na yan. Okay? So alam na natin kung sino stranger, no? So what are the requisites? What are the elements for a defense of stranger? Okay, so the first two requisites are the same as self-defense. So, ilagay din natin, no? Copy-paste din natin. Unlawful aggression and reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent the unlawful aggression. Yun ulit. No? Delete natin. Yan. Okay. So, as for the third requisite, no, the person defending is not induced, ayan na, by revenge, resentment, or other evil motive. If you can check dito, if you will check pala dito, nabanggit ko na po kanina yung salitang revenge, resentment, and other evil motive sa defense of relative. And I said to you na yung mga revenge na yan, immaterial sa defense of relative. Immaterial. Wala tayong pakialam dyan. As long as hindi nang provoke yung nagde-defense. As long as hindi nang provoke yung accused, goods tayo. Complete. Justified siya. Wala tayong pakialam kahit na mortal enemy nung accused yung unlawful aggressor. No problem. Okay? O ngayon, i-flip naman natin. Paano sa defense of stranger? Sa defense of stranger, very important po yung revenge, resentment, other evil motive. Kapag stranger yung unlawful aggressor, dapat etong si accused, yung person defending, no? Si accused, dapat hindi po siya motivated ng paghihiganti, no? Resentment, at kung ano pang other evil motive. Okay? Sige. Ayan, ilan to? 5 ulit. Tingnan natin yung mga examples ko. A shouted racial slurs at B. So B stabbed A. Okay. Being a witness to the incident, X shot B because they were mortal enemies. Okay? A and X were friends. Ayan, kaibigan lang. Is there a complete defense of stranger? No. Because X was induced by revenge, resentment, or other evil motive when he shot B. Hindi lang po dahil gusto niya depensahan yung kanyang kaibigan. Kung hindi dahil mortal enemy rin niya. Okay? Isang dahilan din po yung kaya niya binaril si B. Hindi lang para depensahan si A na kanyang kaibigan, kung hindi para makahiganti na rin. Hence, he is criminally liable for shooting B. Next example. A and X shouted racial slurs at B. Silang dalawa na magtropa. Sinabihan nila ng mga racist remarks si B. Siyempre, mapaprovoke yan. Diba? Racist eh. No? So, B stabbed A. Being a witness to the incident, X shot B. Okay. X and B, in this case, no, they are not mortal enemies. On the other hand, A and X are friends. Is there complete defense of stranger? Yes. There is complete defense of stranger. So long as X was not induced by revenge, resentment, or other evil motive when he shot B. May idadagdag pala ako dito. Ano yung nakalagay dito sa taas kanina? Revenge, resentment, and other evil motive are immaterial. May ilalagay ako dito. Provocation is immaterial. Okay? In defense of stranger. Tingnan natin ulit. Ayan ha, kukumparahan na natin. No? Kukumparahin na natin. Itong una kong example dito. Si B, binaril si B nung anak ni A. Okay? Nung binaril niya si B, mortal enemy niya si B. Importante ba ang revenge resentment sa defense of stranger? No. It's immaterial as long as the son of A did not provoke B, there's still a complete defense of relative. Ihalik ko, nadagdag ko. It does not matter if if the son of A and B are mortal enemies. It doesn't matter. The son still incurs no criminal liability. Sana malinaw. Next example tayo guys. Sa defense of stranger, ano nakasulat? Provocation is immaterial in defense of stranger. Okay? Sa taas, revenge, blah blah blah, immaterial in defense of relative. Gagayahin ko na lang di format ko. Copy-paste natin. Copy-paste natin. Sige. Ayan na. Ayan in this case naman guys, no? As long as X did not, as long as X was not motivated, ayan, by revenge, resentment, or other evil motive, there's still a complete defense of stranger. It does not matter if X also provoke B. Yan. Basically opposite. X still incurs no criminal liability. Basahin ulit natin from the top. A and X shouted racial slurs at B. So B stabbed A. Being a witness to the incident, X shot B. X and B are not mortal enemies. Wala silang hidwaan. Talagang pinagtripan lang nila. Okay. X and B are not mortal enemies. A and X are friends. So, is there complete defense of stranger? Meron po. Kasi provocation is immaterial in defense of stranger. As long as X was not motivated by revenge, resentment, other evil motive, nung dinepensahan niya si A, there's still complete defense of relative. It does not matter if X also provoked B. Okay? Ulitin ko, it doesn't matter. X still incurs no criminal liability. Napakaganda. Okay, next example tayo. May tatlo pa. Okay, mahilig talaga ako dyan. Sa mga example. X shouted racial slurs at B. Okay? So, si X lang ang nag-shout talaga. No? Siya lang talaga ang nag-racist remark kay B. So, B stabbed A. X's best friend. So, binawian niya. Si B, binawian si X. Paano? Sinaksak ni B yung best friend ni X. Si A. Being a witness to the incident, X shot B. X and B, not mortal enemies. Napagtripan lang. Is there complete defense of relatives, of strangers? I'm sorry. Yes, same thing. Kasi wala kang pakialam provocation basta hindi motivated yung pagdepensa kay A, hindi siya motivated ng revenge, resentment, other evil motive. Okay lang. Can we assume na nung nag-provoke siya, that's an evil motive? Hindi mo nakalagay sa facts eh. Diba? Hindi mo nakalagay sa facts na may evil motive, kaya sinasabi yun. Baka naman napagtripan nga lang. Hindi ba naman ang nagsabing mananaksak pala? Diba? Eh doon mananaksak, dinipensahan na niya. Diba? Walang evil motive. No? Hindi naman nakalagay sa facts eh. Sige. Ilagay ko pa dito, inulit ko na naman, no? Kasi gusto ko talagang matatak sa isip nyo. Provocation is not an element for defense of stranger. X could have provoked B, and he would still be justified in defending A, his friend. In short, sabi ko nga dito, provocation is immaterial. Pag binigay ko sa inyo itong reviewer na to, ilang beses ko nang inulit-ulit. Maganda na yun. Maganda nang paulit-ulit kesa kulang. Diba? Okay. Example another, no? Fourth, another example. A punched B. So B stabbed A. Being a witness to the incident, X shot B. No? X and B are not mortal enemies. A and X are friends. Is there a complete defense of stranger? No. Because the element of unlawful aggression is absent. A was the unlawful aggressor, not B. Okay? So, like dito, no? Thus, no? X no, diba? Should not have defended B. A, you know? As A, should not have defended A. As A was since A was the unlawful aggressor. So, similar din po sa example ko kanina dito. Defense of a relative dito, di ba? A stabbed B, so B stabbed A, the son of A witnessed the whole incident. Thus, in defense of A, the son shot B. B died. Is there complete defense of, is the son criminally liable? Yes. Kasi si B, yung binaril niya, hindi naman si unlawful aggressor. Yung tatay niya ang unlawful aggressor. So, absent po yung first element, making the son criminally liable. Yung next nating scenario dito sa stranger, tingnan niyo. A punch B, so B stab A. Sino po ang nanuntok? Si A. So, siya ang unlawful aggressor. Diba? So dapat, kung hindi nakita naman ni X lahat ng pangyayari, hindi niya dapat binaril si B. Kasi alam niya na si B ang inosente. Diba? Si A yung kanyang kaibigan ang nanakit na una. So dapat, hindi na siya nakigulo. Dahil binaril niya si B, criminally liable siya. Okay? For the shooting incident. Last example. A punched B, no? So B stabbed A. Same lang din sa example natin kanina. X only saw the act of stabbing and not the events previous to this. Thus, no? X shot B. Nakita nga niya, no? Sinasaksak yung kanyang kaibigan. So binaril niya si B, no? X and B are not mortal enemies. A and X are friends. Is there complete defense of stranger? Yes. Again, because there was mistake of fact as to who was the unlawful aggressor. X had an honest belief that it was B who was the unlawful aggressor, since he only saw the stabbing incident and not the punching incident that preceded this. May mistake of fact. So, thus, no? X is absolved from criminal liability. No? Atchong din to, by the way. Yung mistake of fact na yan, doon nagbunga yan. Okay, so I hope malinaw, no? So itong number 5, kinumpare lang, pareho lang dito, no? Titingnan niyo yan, no? Titingnan niyo rin yan. Kasi, ganito, no? Guys, pag sasagot kayo ng about dyan, sabihin natin, kung madali lang, tatanungin kayo, self-defense lang. Kung pahirapan kayo, dito kayo tatanungin sa paragraph 2 and 3. How would you analyze? Paano kayo hindi magugulo? Una muna, tingnan nyo kung relative o hindi. No? Lalay ko dito. No? Note natin dito. No? O pro tip, lalay ko na lang. Pro tip, no? To avoid confusion, no? You must first determine, no, if the person attacked was a relative or a stranger. Huwag palang ganyan. Huwag palang person attack. If the person being defended, yung dinidepensahan na tao, if the person being defended was a relative or a stranger, dun muna. Kasi guys, napansin ko, no, based on my experience, kapag may multiple provisions that you have to factor in, ang una nyo dapat na gawin, i-sort out nyo. Bago nyo i-apply yung mga provision na yan, tingnan nyo muna kung saan papasok. Dun muna. No? You need to know where to, parang, to draw the boundary. Gano'n ba kalawak o gano'n kaliit yung kailangan yung i-focus na provision. So, yun muna. To avoid confusion, you must first determine if the person being defended was a relative or a stranger, no? So, if the person being defended, sabihin natin, was a relative, no? Let's stick to paragraph 3. Paragraph 2, I'm sorry. Otherwise, no? Let's go to paragraph 3. Hindi tayo very casual lang na wordings. No? Oh, now, once you know, no, the paragraph that will apply, check the elements, no? Check whether the elements, no? The elements are present. Diba? Starting from unlawful aggression and so on to the third requisite. Kung ano man yung third requisite, no? Kasi pwedeng pag self-defense of a relative, ano yung third requisite? If the person attack, the person if the person attack, no, made provocation or provoke, di ba? The unlawful aggression, no, the one making the defense had no part therein. Let's be precise about it. Ayan. In case the provocation was given by the person attacked, that the one making the defense had no part therein. So, yun yung i-apply nyo pag pasok po tayo sa second paragraph. So, third paragraph, papasok, not motivated by revenge, resentment, other evil motive. Or, ayan, not induced by revenge, resentment, other evil motive. Sana po malinaw. Ganun ang tira dyan para di kayo ma-confuse. You need to delineate. Talagang kalinisin nyo sa isip nyo. You do not apply two things at the same time. You just apply one. Pag na-apply nyo, saka nyo banatan each element. Okay? Sige. Hopefully malinaw. So, nilagay ko na rin dito. No? So, ito, pag napanood nyo po ito, I just want you to know na inedit pa natin ng konti reviewer. So, pakidagdag na lang to. Kasi nga, yung ginagawa kong reviewer before ako mag-discuss, nadadagdagan pa kasi ngayon nagkasalita ako, nagtuturo ko sa inyo ngayon. May mga naibibigay pa akong insight na hindi ko nagawa before. So, edit na lang din. Okay. So, ayan tip ko sa inyo to, no? Para hindi kayo malito. Sige. Okay. We'll continue with the last three, no, na justifying circum justifying circumstances. Yung isa is yung state of necessity, no, fulfillment of duty, and lastly, superior order, obedience to superior. Okay, so simulan natin sa state of necessity or yung tinatawag na avoidance of greater evil or injury. So may tatlong requisites yan o tatlong elements, no? So ito yung hindi ko mga naaalala personally, no? Pag nag-review ako ng justifying circumstances, medyo ito yung wala sa isip ko. Pero tandaan na lang din natin, no? Para kayo hindi nyo makakalimutan, no? First is the evil sought to be avoided actually exists. There must be an evil. So what does evil mean? Diba? It just means anything bad that can happen. Yun lang ibig sabihin niya. It's just a bad happening. Evil sought to be avoided actually exists. Evil means in this case it's just a bad event. No? Okay. So the injury feared be greater than to avoid it. Yung fear, no, na magiging injury nung accused, no, it must be greater than that one that he did to avoid it. And lastly, there are no other practical or less harmful means of preventing it. Okay, so isa-isahin natin. Hindi naman ito masyadong matatanong probably sa exam, pero let's tackle it din. So evil so to be avoided actually exists, no? The evil must actually exist. If it is merely expected, anticipated, or may happen in the future, this provision is not applicable kasi wala namang evil in the first place. Ang typical example po nito, no? Sabihin natin, no, may nag-swerve na kalabaw, may nagdumaan bigla na kalabaw, no? Dumaan na gano'n, no? Sa gitna, nasa bangin, nagdadrive yung kotse. No? Bigla lang may tumawid na hayop. So nagulat ngayon, huwag na palang gano'n, huwag na hayop kasi unrealistic naman nasa bundok. Sabihin natin, curve sa bundok. Okay? So, yung driver, paakyat siya ng bundok, yung kabila, yung pabalik, no, pababa ng bundok. Yung pababa ng bundok na kotse, kaskasero. Ayan. Ngayon, naapakan niya or na na-encroach po niya yung kabilang lane. So ngayon, naipit ngayon itong isa. Yung pababa na yun, yung kaskasero truck. Tapos yung kotse, yung paakyat, kotse lang siya. Sabihin natin, Wigo. Ayan. Truck laban sa Wigo. O ngayon yung truck kaskasero, pababa ng bundok, kinain niya yung kabilang lane. Ngayon, maiipit yung Wigo. So, ang Wigo ngayon, mayroon siyang dalawang choice. Diba? Pag kinaliwa niya, laglag siya sa bangin. Pag nag-stay siya sa gitna, ipit siya. Madadapukak siya ng truck. O pag kinanan niya, makakaligtas siya, probably tatama siya dun sa bundok, no? O tatawa siya dun sa mga dun sa, sa lupa, no? Pero at least mabubuhay siya. However, tatamaan niya yung mga tao. Standing, resting, sitting, dun sa kabilang side na to. Diba? Kasi paakyat siya eh. No? Yung, pag kumaliwa siya ganun sa bundok, bangin yun. Diba? Yung kanan side, yun yung medyo safe kasi lupa. Pag kinanan niyang ganun, di siya madadapurak ng truck, pero nakakapatay siya ng tao. Probably kasi masasagasaan niya eh. O, ngayon, was there evil that existed in this example? The answer is yes. The evil is the possible death of the Wigo driver, the Wigo passengers. Okay? It actually existed kasi nga madadapuhak sila ng truck. Okay? It's not merely expected or anticipated, or may happen in the future. It actually existed at the time of the incident. Okay, next. The injury feared be greater than that than to avoid it. Nakalagay po dito, no? The instinct of self-preservation will always make one feel that his own safety is greater than that of the other. So ano lang to in short, no? Pag yung self-preservation nung mga tao na nasa Wigo, it was much greater than preserving yung life nung mga nakaupo beside the mountain o beside dun sa lupa. Okay? Mas matimbang po yung self-preservation nung Wigo passengers, nung Wigo driver, compared dun sa mga nag-rest sa tabi ng bundok, doon sa safe area. Okay, so pasok tayo sa second element. Lastly, there are no practical or less harmful means of preventing it. Wala na po in this scenario. Kasi nakita na natin yung tatlong possible na gagawin eh. Pag kumaliwa siya, patay yun, laglag sa bangin. Pag nagstay siya, pumreno siya, nagstay siya sa lane niya, madadapuwak siya ng truck. What is the other less harmful mean in that scenario to preserve himself or to preserve the Wigo passengers? Wala na. Diba? Hindi pwedeng dumiretso, madadapo, hindi pwedeng magpreno, same thing, hindi pwedeng kumaliwa, malalaglag sa bangin. Isa na lang ang choice niya kung hindi kumanar para maiwasan niya yung encroachment ng truck. So, pasok po tayo. State of necessity yun. So, justified po yung Wigo when they steered to the right yung kanilang kotse. And in that incident, no, nakapatay sila ng mga nakaupo, nakatayo dun sa gilid sa gilid sa tabi ng bundok. No? Unfortunate but walang criminal liability si Wigo. If ever ang may criminal liability doon, si Truck. Reckless imprudence yun. Pero that's besides the point na. Sa state of necessity, walang penalty, walang criminal liability yung driver ng Wigo. Kasi wala siyang choice. Okay? Ayan, however, the injury feared should not be brought about by the negligence, imprudence, or malice of the accused. Hindi naman niya malice eh. Example, di ba? Isa nating, hindi ko na ilalagay dito. Una nating example. Kaya po siya nagpunta, kaya siya nag-steer to the right kasi madadapuhak siya ng truck. O ngayon, what if ang next example natin, kaya hindi niya napigilang kumanan kasi kaskasero siya. Sobrang bilis ng sasakyan, so madulas yung daan, wala siyang nagawa. Kung di ikanan na gano'n, kasi kung hindi, tatama siya, lalabas siya sa bangin. In that scenario, was there avoidance of greater evil or injury? Was there state of necessity? Wala. Kasi the evil, in the second example, yung mismo Wigo driver ang nagdulot. Mabilis magpatakbo eh. Wala namang ibang nag-inflict sa kanya, wala namang ibang nag-cause ng evil kung hindi siya. Dahil nagawa ng evil, siya may kasalanan. Okay? So, he is criminally liable. Okay, so, last pala dito, matatakal lang rin later, may civil liability do yung Wigo rider. Even though he is not criminally liable, he is civilly liable. Malalaman natin yan later on sa article 100 plus. Okay, kasi every person criminally liable is also civilly liable dun sa site. Okay? Sige. So, yan ang classic example dyan, guys. No? Yung wala nang choice. Kung hindi, either malaglag sa bangin or makakapatay sila, makakasagasa. Okay. Pero pag mismo sila ang may dahilan kung bakit sila muntik malaglag sa bangin, dahil mabilis sila magpatakbo, madulas pa yung daan, whatever, kasalanan nila yun, malamang mahambog yan, di ba? So, umuulan pa siguro. So, ano may kasalanan doon? Yung Wigo rider o Wigo driver. Wigo rider, Wigo driver. Okay. Last two tayo, fulfillment of duty or exercise of right. Focus tayo sa fulfillment of duty. No, so there are two elements, no, as provided in the case of people versus Wanis. No? Landmark case, mga kapatid, yung Wanis na yun. Ang important po dyan na element, yung second one. Yung first one, hindi kayo dyan matatanong kasi napaka-obvious naman. Di ba? Siyempre, this public officer, this person is performing his duty. Okay? So, there was a performance of duty. What's the next element? Ito important. The injury caused, no, was the necessary consequence of the due performance of this duty. Due performance. Ano yung most important word dito? One word. Yung salitang due. D-U-E. Okay? What does due mean? What does due mean? Tingnan natin. The meaning of due is Mountain Dew. No, I'm just kidding. The meaning of due is proper, correct, rightful. Okay? So we can say that the injury caused was the necessary consequence of the rightful performance. Correct performance. So, proper performance of duty. Dapat proper po yung pagganap niya sa kanyang o yung paggawa niya sa kanyang tungkulin. O dahil ganap yung paggawa niya sa kanyang tungkulin, necessary consequence yung injury na i-cause niya. Okay? Sige. I-apply po natin sa Wanis case yan. Okay? In Wanis, the first requisite is present because as police officers, so in this scenario, no, si Wanis, they were trying to capture a wanted criminal. So may performance of duty. They were performing their duty their duties as law enforcement officers. However, the second requisite was absent because there was no due performance of duty. Why? Kasi hindi po proper yung pagganap sa tungkulin. Why? Through impatience, over anxiety, or in their desire to take no chances. Diba? They exceeded their duty by killing a sleeping person whom they believed was the criminal. Diba? Thus, Wanis was held criminally liable. Ialay ko na rin dito, no? Excess, no? Or exceeding, no? One's duty is not due performance of duty. Diba? Maganda. Thus, no? Yan. The injury caused by this excess, by the injury caused by the public officer na lang should make him criminally liable. Thus, the injury, di pala, pangit, no? Thus, no, the public officer, yan, should be criminally liable, no? Criminally liable for all injuries, yan, caused by him because he exceeded his duty. Yon. Ulitin natin, no? Sa Wanis kasi, nagpe-perform sila ng duty kasi nag-i-enforce sila ng kanilang tungkulin. However, walang due performance kasi nga, binaril nila, tulog. Diba? They exceeded their duty by killing a sleeping person whom they believed was the criminal. Tulog pa, babarili mo. Diba? In the first place, tulog nga eh. Di ba, di mo kailangan barilin? Di ba? E di dapat tinusasan mo na lang. Di ba? O binatuta mo na lang, whatever, no? Para hindi na makawala, pusasa na. Ba't kailangan barilin? So there was no due performance of duty. So yung injury cause, anong injury cause in this scenario? The death. Death was not the necessary consequence of the due performance. No? Kasi nag-exceed na sila ng duty. Ayan, may sinabi. Exceeding one's duty is not due performance of duty. So, in one is the death of the sleeping person, ayan, was not the necessary consequence of the due performance, no, of his duty as a police officer. No? The death, ayan, of the sleeping person, yan, happened because he exceeded his duty. So, yeah. So, pinasok ko lang po ulit ng second requisite. By the way, second requisite, wala po sa ano yan. Wala sa justifying circumstance sa revised penal code. Sinupplement po yan ng cases, ng case. So, yan. Tandaan natin yung dalawang requisite kasi very important yung due performance na yan. Okay? So, in one is the death of the sleeping person was not a necessary consequence of the due performance of his duty as a police officer. The death of this sleeping person happened because he exceeded his duty. Ang ganda. Diba? Pinasok lang natin yung requisite, in-apply natin dun sa facts. Ganyan pala gusto ko. Hindi malalaman nyo later on yun pag nakakita na kayo ng how I format my answers para maging madali, kompleto. Pinapalitan nyo lang. Papalitan nyo lang yung nakasulat na yan dun sa ano yung information sa facts. These are the generic words, these are the common nouns. You replace them with the specific instance or yung specific scenario dun sa question o dun sa facts. Papalitan nyo lang, copy-paste, like this one. Injury cause, ginawa kong death of the sleeping person. Not, nag-exceed eh. Then not, the necessary consequence of the due performance. Nilagyan ko no next sentence. The death happened because he exceeded his duty. Okay. Simple. Okay? So, isa pa dito, for fulfillment of duty, the duty of the officer requires him to overcome. Tangent na lang to, hindi na kailangan to. Pero ilalagay din natin para may compare natin yung fulfillment of duty at saka yung self-defense. In fulfillment of duty, the officer must overcome his opponent. So, yung pong reasonable necessity of the means used to repel or prevent the unlawful aggression, it's not an element. Diba? Di nyo ba napansin? Dito, wala pong nakasulat na reasonable. Dapat kung panaksak lang yung dapat kung nanununtok lang yung aarestuhin, dapat batuta lang gagamitin. Walang ganon, di ba? Walang nakasulat na ganon. Overcome ang nakasulat. Walang nakasulat na may rational equivalence dapat. Nakalagay lang dyan dapat, the injury cause was the necessary consequence of the due performance. Sila nga nakasulat. Okay. Anyway, pag naman nanununtok lang tapos na binaril, we can probably say na ano rin yun eh. Totoo lang. Hindi rin siya due performance. We can say na exceeding din ng authority. Diba? But then again, sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi nyo i-invoke yung reasonable necessity of the means used. Ang gagamitin nyo, yung due performance na yan. Nakasampung ulit na ako ng due performance. Para maalala nyo. Okay? Meanwhile, no, for self-defense, di ba? The private person must merely repel, prevent, di ba? Defend himself, stand his ground. Di ba? Ano lang tayo, depensa lang. Meanwhile, sa officer, opensa. Ayan, para mas casual. Offense, pwede sa officer. Kasi you have to overcome. Meanwhile, sa self-defense, depensa ka lang. Okay. Sige. I think you get the point there. Last na tayo. Obedience to superior order. Obedience to superior officer. No? So, may tatlong elements. No? Yung pangatlo na ito, supplemented din ito ng case law. No? Tatlo yan. Nakalagay yung first two requisites nasa, ano natin to, nasa revised penal code po yan. Ano yung nakalagay sa revised penal code? No? Nakalagay sa revised penal code ay any person who acts in obedience to an order issued by a superior for some lawful purpose. So, pasok po yung first two elements dyan sa Article 11 mismo. Yung pangatlo nga, yung sa means, yan yung nasa case. Okay, so tuloy natin. So, una, there must be an order. Obvious, issued by a superior. Hindi colleague. Superior. Okay, dapat boss. Next is for some lawful purpose. And lastly, the means to carry out the order is also lawful. So, dapat may order. The order must be lawful. In short, the means to carry out this order also lawful. So, how many examples do we have here? We have, ang dami, no? 4. Sige, tapusin natin. No? Unahan natin. PO3A obeyed the order of Colonel B to sell the dangerous drugs that they seized from a recent raid. No? So, nag-raid sila, nakakuha ng drugs. Sabi ni Colonel B, ibenta mo to PO3A. So, PO3A sold the same to drug addicts. Binenta niya. Later, PO3A was charged with violation of Comprehensive Dangerous and Drugs Act. Okay, so RA 965. RA 9165. Okay? Is PO3 free from criminal liability? No. PO3A was criminally liable. No? Why? Because there was incomplete obedience to superior order. Incomplete. Why? Yes, meron po tayo ng first requisite. May order issued by a superior. No, alam ang problema ko. However, yung pong second at saka yung third, na ano ko, sorry, nakakapag flip-flop yung requisite saka element. Dapat element to kasi criminal law. Yung second at saka yung third elements, they are absent because the order of the superior was unlawful. Benta ka ng drugs eh. Or the same way, yung order hindi lawful, edi malamang yung means to carry out hindi rin lawful. Binenta niya talaga eh, di ba? So the purpose was not lawful, the means also not lawful. Okay? So yung second at saka yung third elements absent. That's why he is criminally liable because there was incomplete obedience to superior order. Pag palang is PO3 free from criminal liability. Does PO3A incur? Mas maganda yan. Does PO3A incur? Yan. Mas maganda yung words na yun. Okay? Sige, next tayo. No? PO3A was instructed by Colonel B to obtain the extrajudicial confession of a detained suspect named Z. In order to obtain the confession, ayan, so ano to? Nangyayari po ito madalas. PO3A punched and kicked Z. Sinuntok, sinipa, no? PO3A was able to obtain the confession in writing. So, nagkaroon po ng extrajudicial confession. Malalaman niyo yan sa Constitu. Kung ano ang implications itong ginawa ni PO3A. Later, PO3A was charged with maltreatment of prisoners. Pasok yan, no? Nasa ano yan, crime 2. No? Does PO3A yan, incur criminal liability? Dapat pala yes to. Yes. So, does PO3A incur criminal liability? Yes. Ulit, no? Yes din po ulit because there was incomplete obedience to superior order. Tingnan po ulit natin yung second example. May order bang inisyo si Colonel B? Yes. Sabi ni Colonel B, kunan mo ng extrajudicial confession, CZ. Oh, lawful ba yun? Yes. Wala namang masama eh. Pag may extra, walang masama na mag-obtain ka po ng extrajudicial confession ng suspect, walang problema. Walang problema doon. Kailangan lang lumigal tayo. So ano yan, no? Brief sa mga magiging constituencies ko, di ba? How can an extrajudicial confession be valid if the person is under custodial investigation? Magkaiba yan, ha? Pag custodial investigation, mas matindi, mas stricto ang requirements kumpara sa not in custodial investigation. Kaiba. Matatakal ko rin po sa evidence ng konti. No? So in this case po, under custodial investigation. Why? Because the questioning o yung pagkuha po ng extrajudicial confession, the questioning or yung pagkuha ng extrajudicial confession, it came from a law enforcement officer. And this person who will confess has been deprived of his liberty in some significant way. Okay? Brief discussion lang for Constitum. May custodial investigation na po dito. Kasi nga, dalawa. Questioning, it came from a law enforcement officer, si police, si PO3A. Pangalawa, deprived po yung kanyang liberty. May detained eh. Pag ganun nangyari, ano ang requirement under the Constitution? Dapat sundan o sundin ni PO3A para magkaroon ng valid extrajudicial confession. Kailangan in writing yung confession and in the presence of the counsel of this person who will confess. O in this case, paano ba niyang kinuha yung confession? Sinipa, sinuntok eh. Okay? So ano pong element yung wala dito? Yung third requisite lang. Yung pong order na inisyo ni Colonel B, legal. It was for some lawful purpose. Alam mo problema, sabi ko nga, legal, kung pwede tayo sa legal, makakuha ka ng extrajudicial confession. However, yung ginawa yung means, no? Yung means na in-employ ni PO3A to carry out this order it was illegal. No? Kasi sinuntok sinipa eh. Okay, move tayo. PO3A was ordered by Colonel B to deliver a sealed parcel to Mr. Q, a Bureau of Customs Commissioner. Sabi ni Colonel B, o dali, bigay mo ito kay Mr. Q, itong sealed box na to, whatever. Sealed eh. Siyempre, di naman pwedeng silipin ni PO3A. Papagalitan siya ng kanyang superior. Matatanggal sa trabaho. PO3A delivered the parcel to Mr. Q. Mr. Q opened the parcel which contained 1 million pesos in cash. Later, it was revealed that the money was given by Colonel B to Mr. Q so that Mr. Q will allow Colonel B's luxury car to pass through customs without being checked by officials. So, hindi na pagbabayarin ng duties, no? Ng mga tarif-tarif. Pag nag-angkat ka ng luxury car from US, sabihin natin, o from Europe to Philippines, wala na. Pinigyan ng 1 million eh. Pinapass through na. Later, their scheme was discovered. So, yung scheme po ni Colonel B at saka ni Mr. Q na-discover ng mga law enforcement officers. No? So, the ombudsman, the ombudsman or the office of the ombudsman charged Colonel B in PO3A with corruption of public officers and Mr. Q with direct bribery. Ayan na. Nagkakasuhan na. Crime to ulit, no? Brief background, no? Yung nagbigay ng pera, corruption of public officers ang crime. Yung tumanggap ng pera, bribery. Pwedeng direct bribery, pwedeng qualified bribery, pwedeng indirect bribery. In this case, direct bribery. Actually, mayroon pang isang crime dapat dito. Violation of RA 3019 o yung Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practice. Pero huwag na natin isali yun. Hindi na kailangan para ma-illustrate ko sa inyo yung Article 11. No? So, na-chargean po sila ng corruption of public officers. Is PO3A criminally liable? The answer is no. Why? Tingnan natin no, kung ano yung sinulat ko dito. There was an order from a superior. Problema ron, di ba? In-order sa ni Colonel. PO3A honestly believed that the order was for some lawful purpose. So, mayroong mistake of fact na naman. The absolutory cause. May honest belief po siya. Sealed parcel. Ano ba naman ang malay ni PO3A na bribe money pala yun? He doesn't know or he didn't know. So may honest belief that that order given by Colonel B was lawful. Okay. Also, you means that PO3 used to carry out this order. It was also lawful kasi binigay lang naman niya yung pera o yung box, yung parcel. PO3 carried out the order lawfully as he just delivered the parcel to Mr. Q. Thus, PO3 is not criminally liable. Kasi pasok po lahat ng elements. Diba? In relation na rin po sa mistake of fact, in relation na rin po sa honest belief, in relation na rin po sa good faith. Diba? Actually, pwede yung interchange siya. No? Kayo na bahala. Pero mas madali nga gamitin yung honest belief sa good faith kumpara sa mistake of fact. Pero mistake of fact din to. Alam nga, what are the elements of mistake of fact? Ano ba yung first, diba? That the act would have been lawful, that the act would have been lawful had the facts been as the accused believed them to be, something like that. So, yung act na ito, ipagbigay niya ng parcel from Colonel B to Mr. Q, di ba? Siya yung courier. It would have been lawful kung alam niya if the facts, what are the facts na pininiwalaan niyang yun talaga ang facts. Akala niya, inosente. Had the facts been as the accused believed them to be. According to him, the facts are this parcel is innocent, is given innocently, is given without evil motive. Oh, had the facts been as the accused believed them to be. Kung yung paniniwala niya, yun yung nagkatotoo talagang binigay, o yung yung totoong ginawa naman ni Colonel B, legal yung transaction nila. It would have been lawful. Sabi, kung ano man, baka nagbigay lang naman ng hopya, di ba? O nasa parcel. Di ba? It's just a mere token of appreciation. Walang illegality. Pero pera to eh. Anyway, that's besides the point na matatakal natin later on yung mistake of fact. Huwag natin pahirapan muna. Basta for now, i-invoke natin for the second requisite in relation, no? What's the second element? Requisite na naman. What's the second element? The order must be for some lawful purpose. In this case, it was PO3A's honest belief that the order given by Colonel B was for some lawful purpose. Dinagdagan lang natin ang honest belief. That's why the second element is also present or was also present because of the honest belief. Okay? Nagbigay lang naman ng parcel, ulitin ko. Means carried, the means were also lawful. Okay. Last, no? May isa pa pala ang lagi dito. Were the accused, ayan, acted upon the orders of superior officers which they obeyed in good faith. Ayan. Without being aware of their illegality and without any fault or negligence on their part. Paano magkakaroon ng negligence si PO3? Sealed niya. Kung hindi sana sealed, sana gano'n yung silipin na gano'n. Sealed eh. Paano gagawin, di ba? The accused is not criminally liable. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, pwede niyong palit-palitin yan. Pwedeng honest belief, pwedeng good faith, pwedeng mistake of fact. Kayo na bahala. Pero para mabilis kayo, honest belief or good faith na lang. Yung mistake of fact, i-invoke niya lang yun pag self-defense. Kasi yun talaga lagi ang ano. Doon ang ina-apply. Doon na-apply lagi ang ano, ang mistake of fact sa self-defense. Kasi nga, achong case dahil doon. Pero pag dito sa ano, wag na, honest belief sa good faith na lang. Pero again nga, kung if you want the hard way, pwede rin mistake of fact. Kasi there was mistake of fact in this case. And the mistake in this case is, ulitin ko, the mistake is PO3 thought that what he was delivering is legal, was lawful. Di ba? And if this belief, di ba, if yung kanyang pagkakamali ay totoo, edi wala sana siyang crime. Wala sanang crime na nangyari. Wala sana siyang crime. Wala sanang crime na nangyari. But, yun ang hard way. Dito lang tayo sa honest belief sa good faith. Okay, last tayo. PO3A was ordered by Colonel B to deliver a sealed parcel to Mr. Q. PO3A delivered the parcel to Mr. Q. After the delivery, Mr. Q opened the parcel and it was revealed that it contained marijuana leaves, so drugs. Thus, PO3A was suddenly arrested by NBI agents, surveillance. Mr. Q was actually an undercover agent, no? And the NBI secretly undertook an operation to catch public officers who are engaged in the sale and distribution of dangerous drugs. Ibig sabihin si Mr. Q in this scenario, NBI agent pala, no? Posture buyer, no? Papanggap lang nabibili ng drugs nang pala operatiba na. Nadali si PO3A. Later, PO3A was charged with violation of CDDA. Is PO3A criminally liable? No. Justifying circumstances are not applicable to special penal laws, no? Such as CDDA. However, PO3 is not criminally liable because he has no intent to perpetrate the act. Let's circle back. No? Nilay ko lang din dito, inad ko na. Just to review everyone. Diba? So, ang CDDA po, it's a special penal law. Diba? So, ano yan? Malum prohibitum. Diba? So, walang mga justifying. Diba? Walang ganun. Diba? So, paano mo So, kung ikaw ang defense, ikaw yung defense counsel, ikaw yung counsel for PO3A, how will you defend him? How will you argue in his favor para makawala siya? Alam mo, inosente naman talaga siya o napag-utusan lang eh. Ang argument nyo dyan, he has no intent to perpetrate the act. O, di ba? Na-circle back na ipasok natin lahat. Kasi nga, ano, ang malum inse. Di ba? Sa malum inse, ano, criminal intent ang nakasulat. Di ba? Ano sa malum prohibitum o sa mala prohibita? Nakalagay dyan, intent to perpetrate the act. O pag may intent to perpetrate the act, kahit na walang criminal intent, liable. What does intent to perpetrate the act? It means that he did or he committed the act freely and consciously. What's the adverb? Freely, consciously. Yun ang kailangan yung tingnan. Pag hindi free, hindi conscious, walang intent to perpetrate the act. So yun yung third scenario na sinasabi ko sa inyo. Doon sa una nating mga discussion. Tatlong scenario. Criminal intent, intent to perpetrate, no intent at all. Sa pangatlo po tayo papasok dito. Walang criminal intent. Anyway, criminal intent is immaterial in this scenario kasi nga specialty na law. So, sa dalawa na lang, intent to perpetrate at saka no intent at all. May intent to perpetrate pa in this scenario? Wala. Bakit? Sa conscious. Hindi po sa conscious na marijuana na pala dala-dala niya kasi napag-utusan lang siya ni Colonel. Di ba? Nakita niyo na. Yan ang pag-apply ng law. Di ba? That's how you absorb properly. Di ba? Tingnan nyo, no? Like, babasahin nyo ng casual. Doon pala yung mga adverbs, yung mga adjectives na nababasa nyo, yun na pala yung nakakapagpa-determine kung criminally liable o hindi. Pero pag binabasa nyo po kasi casually yung law, hindi nyo ma-realize na napaka-important pala ng mga ito. Diba? So yan, no? So tandaan natin, in this scenario, bakit po hindi siya liable? Tama naman guys, common sense kung babasahin nyo. Kung hindi kayo law student, hindi kayo lawyer, dapat naman talaga walang liability sa PO3A kasi napag-utusan lang naman siya. But then, as aspiring lawyers, you need to have a legal basis. Diba? Hindi pwedeng tamang advice. Hindi pwedeng tamang legal advice lang. There must be something to support your position, your answer. What is it? Intent to perpetrate the act. There was none because he was not conscious of the contents of the parcel. Andali, di ba? Simple. Simple pero perfect na kayo sa question pag tinanong sa inyo yan. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa justifying, no? For the next video, no? Sa next nating pagkikita, paghaharap, no? Exempting na tayo. Tatakil natin from start to finish yung exempting and then mitigating after that. Medyo matagal lang talaga yung first parts ng criminal law. No? Hanggang matagal. Article 20. After that, medyo bibilis na. Ganyan din sa inyo, no? Lalo sa mga first year dyan. If mapapansin nyo, Article 1 to 20, yan yung midterms. And then yung the rest, no? 80 something, 80 plus articles. After that, finals. Itatake lahat. Ganun ka-important yung first few articles na yun. And if you can master them, di ba? Ang laking bagay na yan. Especially sa bar exam. No? Kasi of course, sa criminal law, di kalahati. Kalahating crime to itatanong sa inyo. Kung kaya nyo ni Article 1 to 20, master na master nyo. Hindi 1/4 na itatanong sa inyo sa bar. Kaya nyo na. Diba? Kasi 1/2 yan ng crime 1 eh. Di 1/4. Diba? Kaya hindi, paano ba? Para sa mga first year din, ito tatandaan nyo. Yung preparation for bar, hindi lang po yan nagsisimula. Pag nag-graduate ka na ng 4th year, it starts from the first week ng first year law. Lahat ng ibabaunin nyo sila, lahat ng mga kaalaman ng ibabaunin nyo hanggang maging lawyers na kayo. Hanggang mag-take na kayo ng bar. No? Kaya double-edged sword yun. No? If you prepared well, if you studied well nung bata ka pa lang, nung bata ka pa sa law school, chances are, hindi mo kailangang maghabol masyado sa bar review kasi marami ka nang naipon no law student. The inverse. Pag medyo nag-petics ka nun, I assume di kayo ganun kasi you're listening to me. So you're being, diba? You're being proactive, diba? In your law studies. No? So pero pag hindi ka nga nagsipag ng mabuti, mahirap bawiin yan sa bar. Kasi hindi mo kaya bawiin ng ilang buwan, yung ilang taon na nag-petics ka. Diba? So it's a double-edged sword. So kung mag-aral ng mabuti, hindi kayo ganun dapat matensyon sa bar review. Kasi marami ka ng ipon. Okay? So I assume ganun kayo lahat, no? Ang ganda nga ngayon, nalalaman nyo na rin yung yung kasi sabi ko na rin sa inyo, nakikita nyo na paano ang approach, di ba? Mga tamang angles, yung mga tamang ah, pasikot-sikot ng look, di ba? Okay, so thank you no for tonight. I hope you learned a lot. Defense of relative hanggang huli tinapos natin ang justifying. Exempting tayo next week. Okay? Thank you and good night.